What's going on with this dog of an asset?
He said Bitcoin is dog with fleas. That's what he said.
When you look at the price of Bitcoin right now, earlier today it had fallen below 73,000. Does that make you nervous?
Nervous? Yes. Many people are nervous about their Bitcoin right now. Since October, the S&P 500 has been on a tear near all-time highs. And Bitcoin, it just broke below 73K. There's a 55% gap between Bitcoin and the S&P 500 right now. Some people are speculating that there's manipulation after seeing some weird dark trades happening in IBIT. Some think it's strategy sales moving the Bitcoin price behind the scenes. But regardless of all the noise, I'm going to show you why days like these are the days when you make the greatest returns, and what the actual data says when Bitcoin lags behind the S&P 500. This is Dante Coco, Bitcoin Simply. Let's go. Before noon, Bitcoin crashed below 74 and 73K yesterday, with $230 million worth of Bitcoin longs liquidated in less than an hour. Some people are looking at the charts of BlackRock and thinking that there's speculation going on. Like at 10:30 a.m., $1.3 million of a dark pool of money sold 29,000 shares of IBIT. Who has that kind of Bitcoin? Who's moving that kind of coin all at once? And some people think it's Saylor and MicroStrategy. On-chain data from Arkham shows that Strategy moved $30 million worth of Bitcoin to a Coinbase Prime wallet, but think there could be a lot more happening behind the scenes that we don't even notice through products like IBIT. But let's be real, that's not what's keeping Bitcoin's price down. When the S&P 500 is making all-time highs and Bitcoin is off from its all-time highs almost 50%, something else is going on. For the past year, speaking of IBIT, it's been down 31%, while the QQQ, the tech index, has been up almost 42%. I thought Bitcoin was supposed to outperform, bro. You sent me that chart when Bitcoin was one of the top 10 largest assets in the world, when it was about to overtake silver at number 7, but now it's outside of the top 10. All right, Bitcoin's been a dog, but this happens all the time. And this is exactly when the greatest investors make the most returns.
What's going on with this dog of an asset?
He said Bitcoin is dog with fleas. That's what he said. All right, I got a great stat for you guys. So if you go back on 1 year timeline, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, all the way to 10 years. Every single year on that timeline, gold has outperformed the S&P. Now, why is that important? Because if you go back over a 5 or a 10-year time frame, Bitcoin and gold on the compound annual growth rate has been significantly outperforming. Now, the reason I bring that up is because we usually think of gold as not being super volatile, and we think of Bitcoin as being very, very volatile. But over these long time periods, what we find is that these assets actually do better than what are supposed to be the productive stocks. Now, that doesn't make investors feel good because Bitcoin hasn't been doing very well over the last 2 years. And so what I think people have to realize is that while AI stocks are flying and everyone is chasing momentum and it's hitting all-time highs, usually the thing that you want to be buying is the thing that's out of favor, that's going to come back into favor. And so the big question is, if you think about Bitcoin, is the U.S. government going to stop printing money? If they do not start printing money, which I don't think they're going to stop, that means that Bitcoin at some point in the future is going to be back. It'll be the pretty girl at the bar again.
That's the catalyst.
Of course, Peter Schiff had to say something about what Pomp said on CNBC, saying that he touted the track record of gold, implying that somehow gold is a better asset than Bitcoin. Obviously, Peter Schiff always cherry picks. Pomp clapped back with one reply, showing this chart. The returns of gold over the past 14 years, pretty impressive, 481%. The returns of Bitcoin, 1.4 million. Game over. Every time there's a correction, there's always questions coming up about whether Bitcoin is something you should invest in for the long term. It's been down by 20% over the past 6 months, so that means it's not an investable asset, right? I always take a look in these scenarios at what the most bullish people and the people that have the most to lose with Bitcoin are saying and doing. How are they reacting? How are they responding? Listen to this interview from Fong Li. He's not worried. In fact, he's bullish.
When you look at the price of Bitcoin right now, earlier today it had fallen below 73,000. Does that make you nervous? I mean, you guys don't get nervous because you've watched the price fluctuate through many, many years, but it can't be exciting to sit there and realize that it has not punched above 86,000 for a while now, let alone 126,000.
We bought our first Bitcoin at $11,000. We saw in 2021 Bitcoin go up to 64,000. In 2022, it went down to 16,000. That was a 75% drawdown. I was nervous then. Now, I'm not as nervous because if you look at the macro factors that are happening in the world right now, we have a war in the Middle East. We have uncertainty with inflation and what is Kevin Warsh going to do with interest rates. We have a government that is about to likely pass a pretty major crypto legislation in the Clarity Act. Those are the negatives right now that are going to turn around and be positives in the next 6 months, hopefully.
So you see real tailwinds coming.
I see the headwinds turning into tailwinds. And so if a headwind means we're trading at 73,000, but a tailwind means we get to an all-time high, this is an opportunity to buy more Bitcoin.
Fong Li said that those headwinds are going to turn into tailwinds. You know, the Iran war, a lack of clarity around Bitcoin in Washington, D.C., inflation, what Kevin Warsh is going to do with interest rates. And even despite all of those things, Bitcoin continues to remain steady. Bitcoin tends to outperform the most when people think it will underperform the most, like the majority of the market thinking it will underperform the S&P 500. The times when people think Bitcoin is going to underperform the most is the time when you make the greatest returns. When you look at the data, Bitcoin underperformed the S&P 500 in 2014, 2018, 2022, and 2025. On average, on the years that it underperformed the S&P 500, it outperformed by 85 percentage points the following year. So for all of the people that think, well, 85% of the people that think it's going to underperform the S&P 500, well, the data shows that they're likely going to be wrong. There's a lot of year left and a lot of things that can happen. You never count out Bitcoin. Look at this chart. This is great data from Adam Livingston. Bitcoin's 4-year moving average always goes up, meaning that when you hold it for 4 years or more, you always make returns. Its 4-year moving average a year ago was 47,000. This year, it's 59,000. That's a 27% gain. Bitcoin's 4-year moving average has never gone down year over year. And that's why Samson Mao says there's going to be a lot of people that regret selling their Bitcoin right now. The supply squeeze is coming because we now have more demand and more buyers than we ever have, like Bitcoin treasury companies. Listen to this little clip from Zach, an analyst at Fidelity, talking about the supply squeeze that's happening.
What's up, everyone? I'm Zach Wainwright, research analyst with Fidelity Digital Assets, and this is Chart Chatter. Today we're going to be talking about Bitcoin entering an era of scarcity. Let's dive right in. Here we have a good example of Bitcoin scarcity playing out over time. 5 public companies now hold nearly 1 million Bitcoin in total. By contrast, there is less than 1 million Bitcoin remaining to be mined. This speaks to the scarcity dynamics of Bitcoin that are unfolding over the years. And if this trend continues, we could see 2 million Bitcoin held by this cohort by Q2 2029. In contrast, there would be about 500,000 Bitcoin remaining to be mined at that time. So the supply and demand dynamics of Bitcoin are changing. And if you want to learn more, you can go to fidelitydigitalassets.com and learn more about this era of scarcity that we are entering. Thanks for watching.
Just 5 companies hold 1 million Bitcoin, and there's only 1 million left to mine. Fidelity also said in a report that Iran accepting Bitcoin through the Strait of Hormuz is also a sign of the weakening dollar, that the current system is collapsing right in front of our eyes. Bitcoin is the new gold, the new digital gold, and it holds more promise for people who want to have a longer-term horizon. People that have a long-term horizon don't sell assets. They borrow against them. That's what all the wealthy and rich people do. They pass those assets down to their heirs and trusts and estates and other things and never pay taxes on them. Well, that's what smart Bitcoiners do as well. They borrow against their Bitcoin through Ledn, an institutional backed product that allows you to borrow up to 50% loan to value against your Bitcoin and never sell it, never realize capital gains, and do so at half the rate of a credit card. What's the downside? Well, there isn't one if you're stacking and you're paying attention to how much you want to borrow against your Bitcoin. Use the link in the description or go to learn.ledn.ao/simply to get started. People that have a long-term horizon aren't thinking about Bitcoin in the short term, and therefore they're doing everything to think about protecting their Bitcoin. How do they hold their own keys? Thinking through multi-sig versus single-sig custody. How do I pass it down to my heirs? How does my wife and my brother-in-law know what to do with my Bitcoin if I'm not here? Well, these are all of the things that the Bitcoin Way team will help you think through. A coach from their team will walk you through step-by-step of how to take care of the most important asset of the 21st century, which is Bitcoin. Schedule a free meeting with their team, and they'll help you think through all of the things that you might not be thinking through if you're thinking through Bitcoin as a 100-year asset. Samson said earlier a lot of people are going to regret selling their Bitcoin right now, and it's because he believes that it's digital gold. It's inevitable. If anyone's ever held gold, as to why Bitcoin is going to be a better store of value moving forward.
It's only a matter of time before Bitcoin is the most valuable asset class on the planet, overtaking gold. And I think once you reach a certain point, Bitcoin starts to demonetize gold, because gold is still difficult to use as a store of value. To hold it, you have to have security. You have to build large facilities. You have to audit and make sure no one stole a gold bar or replaced it with a lead bar coated in gold. And if you ever want to move it, you need armed guards. And if you want to move it far, you need a convoy of ships to move it across an ocean. So it's inevitable that Bitcoin will just eat away at gold's market cap, even if Bitcoin did nothing. Just people understanding the difficulty of holding gold, it's going to overtake gold in and of itself by no other metric other than it's better gold. So there's no scenario which Bitcoin doesn't win. It just wins out at any time.
It's going to be a better store of value, that, and it's an immutable ledger. We're going to be able to hold and host artifacts and not have the winners change history like they've always done for hundreds and thousands of years. We're going to be able to embed the truth on the Bitcoin blockchain, like the US Constitution, which someone just embedded in a transaction through an op return recently. We're going to be able to hold key historical pieces of information on this blockchain that can't be manipulated and can't be changed after the fact. And this is why Bitcoin is the most incredible asset in this digital future that we're moving into. Don't trade long-term wealth for short-term riches. Bitcoin is going to be more valuable than real estate in Manhattan or real estate in France or Japan. You're going to be one of the royal families if you're thinking like Bitcoin in the long term and not just thinking about it in terms of what I can gain tomorrow.
You've got $200,000. You bought a sports car. Good for you. You'll be wealthy for a decade. You have $200,000. You buy Bitcoin. You'll be wealthy forever. So when it comes time to sell something, sell the thing that has a half-life of 7 years or 2 years or 10 years or 20 years. Don't sell the thing that will make your children's children wealthy, right? Bitcoin is going to have economic value 500 years from now. It's the crown jewel. Like the royal family of Britain, they still own the center of Britain, The emperor of Japan still owns the middle of Tokyo, and the royals in the UAE, they own all the good property. So own the stuff that's going to have value in 1,000 years. They would never sell Windsor, Windsor Castle, Buckingham Palace, Just like you're a New Yorker, don't sell Central Park. I'm going to sell Central Park to make $1. It's like, Jesus, it's worthwhile 1,000 years from now. You might want to cultivate it. And Bitcoin, I think, is even more valuable than the nicest, most desirable real estate in your favorite place on earth. Bitcoin is going to be around. It's Cyber Manhattan. 1,000 years from now, your children's great, 10x grandchildren will be rich if you kept it.
Bitcoin is going to be what empires are built on in the future. Don't trade. Don't get panicked over price. Don't think about Bitcoin at 70K, but at 700K, 7 million. Over 4 years, Bitcoin's annual returns always outperform. What's your time horizon? Don't panic, stay calm, and stack on. Stack in more ways than one. Not just buying spot Bitcoin, but even acquiring Bitcoin through Bitcoin mining. But you don't have to set up your own mining rigs. You don't have to maintain electricity or contracts or thinking about how my neighbors are going to feel about the noise. Outsource it to SaaS mining. You give them money, they give you a Bitcoin miner and send sats straight to your wallet. And if you haven't already done so, subscribe to the channel. We drop fire like this 7 days a week, and we'll continue bringing the heat for you and our most loyal fans and watchers. Thanks for all that you do. Enjoy your weekend. This is Dante Cook of Bitcoin Simply. Happy stacking.